Two of the hottest travel credit cards. Same annual fee, but very different perks. One gives you flexibility and premium transfer partners. The other, higher rewards without jumping through hoops. So, which of these cards actually gives you better value for your travel style? I'm going to be breaking down the Chase Sapphire Preferred versus the Wells Fargo Autograph Journey card. Because if you could only choose one, that choice could cost you literally thousands of dollars of value. Period. Let's start off with the earn rate. The Wells Fargo Autograph Journey card gives us 5x points per dollar spent on hotels. You don't need to go through any portal or any special way. When you're just booking directly with the hotel, you can be looking at 5x points back. With the Chase Sapphire Preferred, we're also looking at 5x points, but that's specifically when we're going directly through Chase's travel portal. Since we literally need to go through the portal to get these 5x points, the risk is that the portal's prices may be higher than literally going through the actual hotel's website. And let's say we actually went through the hotel site with the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Instead of 5x points, we'd be looking at only earning 2 times points. On a very similar note with the Wells Fargo Autograph Journey, if we're spending directly with airlines, we'd be looking at 4x points per dollar spent. And the same issue with the Chase Sapphire Preferred. We'd be getting 5x instead of 4x, but again, you got to go through that portal. And it's the same difference of 2x points if we're going directly with the airline site. For this next multiplier, I want you to think about what you're actually spending on these categories. So when it comes to streaming and online groceries, with the Wells Fargo Autograph Journey, just be like 1x in general. But with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, we're actually looking at 3x per dollar spent. Although it sounds like a bigger number, it really is going to come down to how much are you spending in those categories. In other words, how many points are you potentially going to be earning? And like every other credit card out there, we're looking at 1x everywhere else. Although this all is the case, the Chase Sapphire Preferred really is super famous because apart from these standard kind of categories where you're earning points, there's also specific partner benefits where when you're spending on certain merchants, basically, you're going to be earning that many more points. For example, at the time of recording for the next couple of years out, if you're spending with Lyft, with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, we're looking at 5x points per dollar spent. And in that same time frame, if you're a Peloton user, you could be looking at 5x points for each and every dollar spent with Peloton for purchases above $150. We're definitely talking about how many points we could be earning by spending on these cards. But the true question is, what are these points even worth? In other words, how are you going to use them? And does that really play a factor in how much value you're going to be getting? And the answer is going to be a yes. But the factors that go into the decision that you need to make for yourself are going to be as follows. But right before that, there's a couple of perks which come with the Wells Fargo Autograph Journey card, where if this is in scope of what you need to have and which you won't have with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, then the decision becomes that much easier. The first is $1,000 in cell phone protection. Basically, you have a $25 deductible, so when you file a claim, if let's just say you're claiming $1,000 worth of value that, you lost your phone or something happened to it, basically that's money that you just wouldn't be able to recoup with the Chase Sapphire Preferred. Similarly, if you're traveling enough or that amount of travel protection claim amount matters to you, with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, we're looking at 10 grand. But with the Wells Fargo Autograph Journey, you'd be looking at up to 15 grand. So coming back to what these points could be worth for you, with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, there's some common partners which are just touted about over the years, where there's one partner which basically is really tough to access, known as Hyatt Hotels. And basically you're getting around 2 cents per point is the understanding. So if you have, let's say, 10,000 points, instead of that being $100 in cash, it could be worth, let's say, $200 worth of hotels. Let's say that doesn't matter to you. The fact is that with Chase, you're looking at 10 plus travel partners, and with Wells Fargo, it's closer to 5. In the end, you're going to have more airlines, period, and hotel choices with Chase. And what that really means is, let's say, even if you don't have a specific airline that's listed as a part of Chase's travel partners, the thing is, there's alliances within the world of airlines where, for example, American Airlines is partnered with British Airways, which really means that I can book, let's say, a British Airways flight on AmericanAirlines.com or vice versa. And so even if it's not a specific airline, just because it is alliances, you have kind of this multiplication effect where because of 10 plus different partners, you're basically really looking at it factually as you have that much more access to that many more airlines. And although there's really 3 major alliances, Star Alliance, One World, and SkyTeam, basically think like Delta, United, and American Airlines, the thing is, different sites may have different prices. So although you can book said flight, let's say on a different partner's website, that cost could be truly that much different. So it's not always going to be cheaper, right? It could also be that much more expensive. Simply put, you have a lot more flexibility in the ways you're going to be using your points. On the flip side with the autograph journey, you're going to have an intersection between some of the travel partners for Wells Fargo and Chase. And so from that perspective, you have really, what do you have to gain, right? If you ask yourself that. Basically, you have Choice Hotels as a hotel partner and literally no other hotel options, at least at the time of recording. And on the airline side, let's say you want to book on British Airways or with Qatar. Basically, with the Wells Fargo autograph journey, you can have your points become Avios miles, so you can book these type of flights. But with Chase, you can already do that. And let's say that you want to optimize with Flying Blue, which is basically KLM/Air France's program. Chase is already partnered with them as well. No matter which way you skin the cat, Chase is just going to have more options for all the points you're earning, where Wells Fargo, yeah, you're earning more points. But with Chase, your points could be going that much further, or at least have that much more of a variety in terms of the way you're actually using said points. So if you could only choose one, which one is that right one for your lifestyle? On the Chase side, sure, the travel protection is $5,000 less in that specific example, right? At the same time, if you're renting a car, you have primary collision damage waiver with this Chase Sapphire Preferred. And from here, you can look at those line-by-line benefits. But if you're looking more at the maximization value of, hey, like, how much cash value per se am I getting? This is what I would say. On the Chase side, if you use certain partners like DoorDash, where they give you Dash Pass, which is basically their way of, hey, you get free delivery by being a member with DoorDash and other perks, you also get certain credits each and every month. But if you're not using DoorDash, then all of this doesn't matter, right? And partners change, let's say, every 2 to 3 years or so in this fashion. If those extra benefits aren't really tailored for you or they just don't make sense, and we come back just to the pure points kind of valuation, there's also the consideration of the sign-up bonus, also known as a new card member bonus, and basically an incentive for you to sign up for the card. And in general, the Chase Sapphire Preferred, at the time of recording at least, there's an elevated offer of 75,000 Chase Ultimate Reward Points, which is basically their currency, after $5,000 in spend in the first 3 months. With the Wells Fargo Autograph Journey card, we're looking at 60,000 points after $4,000 in spend in that same time frame. So essentially, you're going to spend more with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, get more points. On the Wells Fargo side, you get less points, but there's also less minimum spend to be made. Let's, for example, assume that, okay, you're getting the same number of points in both scenarios, and let's jack it up just for easy math. 100K points, period. You have no worries making the minimum spend, $95 annual fee. What does it look like, right? Basically, where do those 100K points go? In other words, if you redeem for cashback, okay, sure, maybe you're getting, let's say, $1,000 cash right there and then. And if that's all that matters to you and you're not even transferring these points to partners, then it really comes down to just earn more points, period. One part that's important about this is that, yes, the $95 annual fee, like how do you recoup it? Are there other basically really tangible benefits you could say for travel cards? And there are. So with the Chase Sapphire Preferred, you get $50, again, to be used specifically on their portal for hotel purchases only. And on the Wells Fargo side, you can book anywhere, but it's going to be for airlines where you're getting a $50 annual credit. So we're back to that effective annual fee if you consider it as $50 full value you're getting, irrespective of the portal being a little more jacked up in price, basically at $45 each. But we're back to the same question. Which one's better? In my personal opinion, if I could only choose one, I picked the Chase Sapphire Preferred just because of the Chase ecosystem and where it is today and where it plans to be, let's say, in the future. There's no annual fee options, which are very, very strong cards, but the Wells Fargo side also has a very strong cashback type of setup if you're wanting to downgrade your cards or consider other cards within the Wells Fargo ecosystem. So now I would say within the ecosystem equivalent of reward redemption, on the Chase side, apart from the transfer partners, aka like travel partners, airlines, and hotels, you also have ways to redeem for gift cards and other items like this, which maybe I won't personally do, right? But you have increased incentives to redeem for gift cards where you're not getting, let's say, 1 penny a point, but maybe let's say you have 10,000 points, which is $100 in cash, but it may give you 1.25 cents per point. In other words, you can redeem for $125 worth of gift cards if that's the way you want to do it. Overall, I always ask myself, which same question for you, think about it, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, if you could only choose one, which one would it be? Are you looking for the short-term bonus? Are you looking for, hey, like these cards actually could make sense, both of them at the same time for some reason, right? On different categorical spend, and it makes sense to pay both the annual fees. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's just the one that you're like, you know what? The other one, I could keep it, but maybe I don't want it next year or the year after that, right? And in the long term, you see yourself maybe having the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Wells Fargo Autograph Journey. in the end, the decision is going to be yours. Feel free to put any questions in the comments below. I'm happy to answer them. There's also going to be a link in the description to meet me. It's totally free for 15 minutes. I love to go back and forth and just talk credit card strategy and just add value basically to your life in any which way. And with that, check out this video over here, and I'll see you there. Peace.